Hey, how's it going? Dave 2D here. This is the Asus Zephyrus M, the GM501. We saw the original Zephyrus last year. It's kind of like the thin and light GTX 1080 Max-Q laptop. Really powerful, but really expensive. This is a much more affordable version of that whole design. Very similar in exterior aesthetic to the original Zephyrus, but they've made quite a few changes on the inside. Still a really well-built laptop. The top panel is fully aluminum, and the bottom section is really durable polycarbonate. The ROG on the logo up top still lights up red. It's not like a super obnoxious red, it's very subtle, but it does light up. And the whole top panel has this brushed texture to it. It actually looks pretty nice. Okay, going around the sides, the port selection is okay, not amazing. It's got a lot of USB-A, 4 of them, which is great, and a Thunderbolt 3, but it doesn't have an SD card slot, and it also does not have a mini display port. So I recently did a video on the Vive Pro with Beat Saber, and I wanted to do that whole video on this laptop because the GPU can support it. It's running a GTX 1070, but because it didn't have a mini display port, I couldn't use this. You might be able to adapt it through the Thunderbolt 3 port, but I wasn't able to test that out. The AC adapter is also not in a great position. It's running at the middle of the side, and then your cable just kind of runs along the length. I don't love that, but the port selection overall is fair. Okay, let's go to the inside. We're looking at a pretty big change on the input devices. So the keyboard and the trackpad from the original Zephyrus didn't have the best position. They were shifted to the bottom of the keyboard deck to allow for better cooling for the 1080. This new Zephyrus M is significantly improved. It's a more traditional layout of everything. Keyboard is great, very easy to get used to this thing, comfortable to use, the spacing is good, and the keystrokes are responsive. The tiny arrow keys and the narrow number pad might be weird to look at, but I actually found them pretty comfortable to use. Granted, I'm not a huge number pad user. If you're used to like a regular full-size number pad, it might take a while to get used to this, but it is comfortable for me. The backlighting on this keyboard isn't super customizable or bright. It's more of like a subtle glow, which I actually like. The trackpad is also solid. It's got Windows Precision drivers, it's got a glass texture, and the button mechanics are on point. It'd be nice if the trackpad was a little bit larger. Not that it's small, but I feel like in this genre of laptop, like that 15-inch gaming laptop, this is one of the smaller ones, but overall, inputs are good. The display, I have mixed feelings about it. It's a great panel, really fast at 144 Hz. Of all the 6-core gaming laptops that I've used so far, so that's the MSI GS65, the Aero 15X, and now the Zephyrus M, I think this has the best panel for gaming. They're all 144 Hz, they're all 1080p, but this is the one that has the fastest response rate. 3 millisecond, the other ones are rated I think at 7 millisecond, but it's not just that, it's the colors. They're a little bit more vibrant and just games look really good on this panel. The bezels are unfortunately quite big, and that's probably my biggest issue with this screen. It's not that they're really thick, but they're thicker than the competitors, and like it just doesn't look as nice. The truth is, and this is like an honest opinion, I've been using this for about 2.5-3 weeks at this point, and when I first opened it up, I was like, wow, these bezels are thick. But after using it for a while, like they just don't matter. If you're gonna actually purchase this thing and use it, the bezels will probably be a non-issue in a couple of weeks. The color accuracy, however, is less impressive. The sRGB is usable if you calibrate it, and I worked on a couple of videos on this panel, but if you're looking for something long-term and you kind of do a lot of photo or video work, then you're gonna need an external monitor or just kind of skip on this laptop completely. But the screen is excellent for gaming. The webcam's located in the normal position up top. It's a pretty generic 720p image. One other thing, this laptop can switch between Nvidia G-Sync and Nvidia Optimus through software. So normally you'd have to choose one or the other, and your laptop wouldn't be able to have both. This one can switch between the two. So if you don't know what those are, G-Sync is this tech that allows your laptop to kind of reduce visual artifacting when it's in game. So it just kind of smooths out the gameplay. It looks nice at lower frame rates. Nvidia Optimus is this tech that enhances battery life or extends battery life. So instead of using the GPU, like the discrete GPU, the 1070, it'll switch over to the weaker onboard GPU when it's not doing something intense, and it just kind of extends battery life. So this laptop can switch between the two in software. And I think this is the first one I've ever used that could do this. So it's pretty cool in theory, but I wasn't able to get great battery life. You'll see in a little bit. Now to get inside this thing, it's pretty simple. You just need to remove the screws and the panel. You get 2 RAM slots, 2 drive bays, one of them is NVMe, one of them is 2.5-inch SATA, and the Wi-Fi card is this new Intel 9265. It's an awesome card. The battery is quite small, 55 watt hours. It's a little disappointing on a device like this. I'm getting around 3.5 hours of battery life. That's with screen at 250 nits, and that's with Nvidia Optimus. If I had this on G-Sync, it's even less. It's like 2.5 hours. The thing is, it's got a really small battery, so all that tech that I was talking about before, like the ability to switch between Nvidia, Optimus, and G-Sync, like it It would have made a much bigger difference if this battery was bigger, but because of the 2.5-inch drive, there's less space, so the battery's smaller, which is unfortunate because a lot of the laptops in this segment just have 2 NVMe drives, which is more space efficient, but this one does not. Okay, performance on this laptop is really good. GTX 1070 with the new 6-core CPUs from Intel, it's a really good combination. The CPU is excellent for multi-core applications, and I'll leave a link below if you want more details. The GPU is also really good. It's basically the 3rd most powerful GPU for laptops on the market right now. You're gonna get really good frame rates across any of the titles at 1080p, and when you pair that with the 144Hz screen, stuff just looks awesome. And because it's a regular GTX 1070 and not a Max-Q version, the thermal output should be a little bit higher, but the Zephyrus has this feature where when you lift the lid, the bottom panel opens up and it gives it better thermal characteristics. The temperatures in benchmarks and in games are actually a little bit lower than the competitors. Not by a lot, but it is noticeable, especially on the stress tests. The fans can actually be really quiet if you want. You get software control. On balance mode, it's reasonably quiet, but on overboost, the fans can get quite loud. You do get better temperatures though. The speakers on this laptop are located on the bottom, and they actually sound better than I thought. They aren't in the best location. I never like speakers on the bottom, but they actually sound good, and the bass is way better than I expected. So with the Zephyrus M, I feel like you're getting a device that is a better value this year than it was with the original Zephyrus. You're just getting really strong performance for a lot less money compared to the previous generation. Overall, really good laptop. There are a few things I don't love about it, like the bezels on the screen and the smaller battery life, but if those things aren't like deal breakers for you, this is a really good pick. I actually think this is a better built laptop than the other two. So I think it's better built than the Aero and the GS65. They're all like good, but this is probably the best in build quality. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. See you guys next time.